What is up, Lakers Nation? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your #1 source for everything purple and gold, where I bring you the latest breaking news, the deepest analysis, and all the insider information you need to stay connected with our beloved Angeles Lakers. Today, I've got something absolutely massive to break down for you, something that's going to change how you view this entire season, something that connects multiple storylines into one incredible narrative about where this franchise is headed. This is the kind of content that separates the casual fans from the diehard Lakers faithful who understand the chess moves happening behind the scenes. So buckle up, stay with me through this entire video, because what I'm about to reveal is going to blow your mind. All right, Lakers family, I need you to think back to this past offseason. Remember all the speculation, all the rumors, all the debates about what direction this franchise was going to take. We had questions about roster construction, questions about our championship window, questions about whether Rob Pelinka and the front office had the vision to build something truly special. Some people doubted, some people criticized, some people thought we were making mistakes. But here we are, deep into the season, and let me tell you something. The moves that were made, the decisions that were executed, the strategy that was implemented, it's all coming together in ways that even the most optimistic fans couldn't have predicted. I want to talk about sacrifice for a moment. In basketball, in life, in building championship organizations, sometimes you have to let go of things you value in order to gain something even more valuable. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions that don't look good in the moment, but prove to be brilliant with the benefit of hindsight. Sometimes you have to trust the process, trust the vision, trust that the people making decisions have information and insights that we don't have access to as fans watching from the outside. This offseason, the Lakers made several moves that had people talking, had people questioning, had people wondering if we knew what we were doing. One of those moves involved letting a player walk in free agency, a guy who was beloved by advanced statistics, a guy who was considered a glue player, a guy who brought intangibles that don't always show up in the box score. I'm talking about Dorian Finney-Smith, who ended up joining the Houston Rockets. At the time, losing Finney-Smith didn't look great. Fans were upset, analysts were critical, people were questioning why we would let a valuable role player leave without getting anything in return. Here's what those critics didn't understand, what they couldn't see at the time, what has become crystal clear as this season has progressed. Letting Finney-Smith walk wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an oversight. It wasn't poor roster management. It was a calculated sacrifice, a necessary move to create the flexibility and the cap space to bring in players who could elevate this team to championship contention. Because what happened after Finney-Smith left? We added Jake LaRavia. We brought in DeAndre Ayton. We signed Marcus Smart. 3 significant additions that have completely transformed our roster, our depth, our defensive identity, our championship aspiration. And let me tell you something about Marcus Smart specifically, because this is where the genius of our front office really becomes apparent. There were people, lots of people, who thought we should have pursued Bradley Beal instead. Beal was available. Beal is a proven scorer. Beal has put up big numbers throughout his career. The narrative was that pairing another isolation scorer with our offensive weapons would be the way to go. But Pelinka and the front office saw something different. They saw that what we needed wasn't another guy who needs the ball in his hands, another guy who thrives in isolation, another guy who's going to take possessions away from our primary option. What we needed was a disciplined, defensive-minded guard who could bring toughness, who could bring leadership, who could bring championship experience and winning mentality. So we went with Smart instead of Beal. And folks, that decision is looking absolutely brilliant right now. Smart has brought an edge to our defense that we desperately needed. He's brought vocal leadership in the locker room. He's brought a winning pedigree from his time in Boston. He's the kind of player who makes everyone around him better, who elevates the team's intensity, who sets a standard for effort and commitment that permeates through the entire roster. That's the kind of move that championship organizations make. That's the kind of decision that shows we're playing the long game, that we understand what it takes to win at the highest level. Now, let's talk about another off-season decision that had people talking. Klay Thompson. Remember that situation? Thompson was choosing between us and the Dallas Mavericks, and he ultimately decided to go to Dallas on a 3-year, $50 million deal. He thought he'd have a better chance to win a 5th championship with the Mavericks. thought he'd benefit from playing alongside their star players, thought Dallas gave him the best opportunity for success. Well, let me just say this as diplomatically as possible. That decision has not aged well for Klay Thompson. Not well at all. While Thompson is struggling to find his role in Dallas, while he's dealing with a franchise that's going through some serious turmoil right now, we're over here in Los Angeles building something special, something sustainable, something that's positioned for long-term success. And speaking of Dallas and their struggles, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, the trade that changed everything for both franchises. The move that sent shockwaves through the entire NBA. I'm talking about the Luka Doncic trade. The trade that brought Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers was one of the most seismic moves in recent NBA history. Dallas sent us a generational talent, a player who's already being mentioned in conversations with the all-time greats, a guy who can take over games and carry a franchise on his shoulders. In return, they got pieces that included Anthony Davis, along with other assets. At the time, Mavericks fans were absolutely outraged. The backlash was deafening. The chants of "Fire Nico," referring to their GM Nico Harrison, were impossible to ignore. And you know what? Those fans were right to be upset, because that trade created a reality that the Mavericks simply could not survive. Fast forward to now, and Dallas has finally admitted what everyone else could see. Things have gone terribly wrong for their franchise. They fired Nico Harrison just this week. The architect of that Luka trade is now out of a job, and the Mavericks are facing a complete overhaul of their roster and their organizational structure. Meanwhile, we're sitting pretty with Luka Doncic in purple and gold. And let me tell you, the sun has been shining a whole lot brighter in Los Angeles ever since that trade went down. Luka has been everything we could have hoped for and more. He's meshing beautifully with LeBron James, creating one of the most dynamic duos in the entire league. The basketball IQ between those two is off the charts. The way they read defenses, the way they create for each other, the way they make everyone around them better. It's been an absolute joy to watch. And here's the thing. We're not just winning games, we're dominating. We're showing the entire league that when you have elite talent, when you have championship-level role players, when you have a front office that knows how to build a roster, special things can happen. Now, there's been some speculation about whether we might look to reacquire Anthony Davis from Dallas as they start their rebuild. Davis was part of what we sent out in the Luka trade, and with Dallas looking to move pieces and start fresh, his name has come up in trade discussions. But let me be very clear about this. We should not be looking to bring Anthony Davis back. That's not me being disrespectful to a D. That's not me diminishing what he accomplished here in the past. It's simply recognizing that we've moved on. We've built something new. We've got a roster construction that's working beautifully right now, and going backwards isn't the answer. If we're going to look at anyone from Dallas, and this is just speculation on my part, but if there's a target that makes sense, it would be someone like Max Christie or maybe even Najee Marshall, guys who could provide depth and fit into our system without disrupting the chemistry we've built. But honestly, I'm not even sure the Mavericks would pick up the phone if we called at this point. The relationship between these two franchises after that Luka trade is, let's just say, complicated. Let's shift gears and talk about Austin Reaves for a minute, because this is a storyline that every Lakers fan needs to be paying attention to. Reaves is having an absolute breakout season. Through the first 10 games, he's averaging 28.6 points, 8.2 assists, 5 rebounds, and 1.4 steals per game. Those are all-star numbers. Those are numbers that put him in the top 10 in the entire NBA in both points and assists per game. This is a player who has elevated his game to superstar status, and it's been incredible to witness. Here's where it gets interesting, and this is something that should concern us as Lakers fans even as we celebrate his success. Reaves declined the max extension that we could offer him in the offseason. He's betting on himself. He's playing for a massive payday in free agency, and with the way he's performing, he's going to get it. The question is, will that payday come from us, or will it come from another team? Because make no mistake, when Reaves hits free agency, there are going to be teams lining up to offer him max money to be their number one option, to build a franchise around him, to make him the face of their organization. We saw what Reaves can do as the primary option when both Luka and LeBron were out with injuries. He averaged 40 points and 10 assists, as we probably won 2 or 3 games without our two superstars. The only loss came on the second night of a back-to-back, which is completely understandable given the circumstances. That stretch proved that Reaves isn't just a complimentary player anymore. He's a legitimate star in his own right, capable of carrying a team when called upon. So the question becomes, can we afford to keep Austin Reaves long-term? Will we be willing to pay him what he's worth on the open market? Or are we going to lose him to another franchise that's willing to make him their centerpiece? These are difficult questions that Rob Pelinka and ownership are going to have to answer in the coming months. My hope, and I think the hope of every Lakers fan, is that we find a way to keep Reaves in purple and gold for the long haul. He's earned it. He's proved he belongs. And he's become a fan favorite for all the right reasons. Now, let's talk about an important date that's coming up very soon, December 15th. That's the date when 4 of our key offseason signings become fully trade eligible. I'm talking about DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart, and Jackson Hayes. Once that date hits, Rob Pelinka will have complete flexibility to include these players in trade packages if he determines that moves need to be made to improve our championship odds. Now, I want to be clear about something. I don't think we should be looking to trade Smart or LaRavia or Ayton. These guys have been great for us. They fit into the system beautifully. They're part of what's making this team so successful. But Hayes is a different story. He's been fine as a backup center, but if there's an opportunity to upgrade at that position, if there's a chance to bring in someone who can give us more production, more consistency, more impact in limited minutes, then Pelinka needs to explore that option. The beauty of having these guys become trade eligible is that it gives us options. It gives us flexibility. It means that if we identify a need, if we see an opportunity to get better, if another team makes a player available who could help us win a championship, we have the assets to make a deal happen. That's the position you want to be in as a contending team. You want to have flexibility. You want to have options. You want to be able to strike when the opportunity presents itself. Looking at the big picture, Lakers family, this season is shaping up to be something special. We're playing great basketball. We're healthy for the most part. We've got multiple guys playing at an elite level. And we've got a front office that's proven they know how to build a championship roster. The moves that look questionable in the offseason, the decisions that have people doubting, the sacrifices that seem painful at the time, they're all paying off now. That's what great organizations do. They have a vision, they execute that vision, and they trust the process even when it's not popular. Rob Pelinka deserves a ton of credit for what he's built here. The man took criticism. He faced doubt. He dealt with people questioning his every move. But he stayed the course. He stuck to his plan. And he's delivered a roster that's capable of competing for Banner 18. That's what we're chasing, folks. That's what this is all about. Hanging another championship banner in the rafters, adding to the legacy of this incredible franchise. Proving once again that the Lakers are the gold standard in professional basketball. Now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. What do you think about the moves we made this offseason? Are you as impressed as I am with how Smart has fit into this team? What's your take on the Austin Reaves situation and whether we should pay him whatever it takes to keep him? Do you think we should make any moves when December 15th hits, or should we ride with this roster as currently constructed? And how confident are you that we're going to bring home championship number 18 this season? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below because I love hearing from you and getting different perspectives on everything Lakers. And listen, if you want to stay on top of every single breaking news story, every trade rumor, every injury update, every bit of insider information about the Los Angeles Lakers, you absolutely must subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report right now. Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and give this video a thumbs up if you found this analysis valuable. Share it with all your Lakers friends because we're building the best community of informed, passionate Lakers fans on all of YouTube. I'll be back very soon with more breaking news, more in-depth analysis, and more exclusive content. Let's go Lakers, championship or bust. I'll see you in the next one.